Good morning, hello, happy Monday. Hopefully you're all enjoying your weekend. And Zilby is not here, so we don't need that up right now. If he comes in, hopefully we'll get that going. Today is a long weekend for me. I get today off from my day job, but I'm also thinking about not going super long on my my stream today. I wanna take some time for myself. So we're just going to see if we can spin up an EC2 instance, connect that security group to it in the process, and just see if we can get that going. And if we can, then that's probably going to be it. There's some other things we need to do in the future, sort of like setting up and installing SEC and all that stuff, but I don't know if I'm going to do that off stream or on stream. It sort of like depends upon my schedule and how things are going. Recently I've been trying to not do too many programming type things outside of work or the stream. Just too much going on. So let's get ourselves set up here. That was a longer startup time than normal. Okay, so I want to, let's see, where is it? Where are we going? Code. What am I calling it now? Because we changed to Brooks Builds, that's what it's called now. Open up code here, and then we can get our integrated terminal inside of this. So I like that a little bit more. All right, so we have all of you. This is good. Let's oh no. I learned a new trick where I can basically do Control Shift tilde, and I set it up. VS Code will open up a new terminal in the other window area, which I like this a little bit more. Also, you don't have to be so big. All right, so we have our infrastructure inside of here, so we can go and take a look what we got going here. So we have our, okay, so we're beginning to create the EC2 instance. You're yelling at me because expected 4 arguments, got 3. What are you expecting now? A VPC ID, which I think we just have here. We're acquiring it in, so we can now trust and just hand in this VPC ID. Stacking, hello. You just started up yesterday's VOD and then I went live. Sorry. Also, yesterday is going to be interesting because instead of working on this project, we worked on Screeps. We played a little bit of Screeps Arena and got ourselves set up. Our bot is super advanced. It can beat an opponent that does nothing. Ignore the fact that it completely fails against anyone else that it's gone up against. Just, it can beat an opponent that does nothing. Okay, so what is this? Why am I Oh, right. I'm returning this, which for like the outputs. So the outputs are interesting. I can basically put any of my like ARNs or anything else that I want to sort of like see and stuff that in here. I don't know why it's not like that. That would be much nicer. Okay, so creating EC2 instance. Why do I need the VPC ID here again? It was to something. So looking at this, the availability zone for, the availability zone. I wonder if it's gonna auto figure it out. Capacity reservation specification. With a T2 micro, I think that'll make it go into free tier. So I only have one availability zone right now. Capacity reservation specification. No, I'm not doing reservations for this right now. Eventually, we would want to. So the way that reservations work in AWS is if it's just like a normal EC2 instance, you're just pulling it up. It's the most expensive kind. It's basically just the always, like whenever you want it, it's available. And so therefore you charge the most, but you can turn it down, you can turn it off and then stop being charged for it. You can also reserve it for a period of time, like several months, a year, 2 years, and you get pretty heavy discounts the farther out you reserve it. So for example, we might reserve this for 2 years once we have it set up. So that way I prepay for it, but then it's like super cheap compared to like the full expensive one. CPU core count. So sets the number of CPU cores for an instance. This option is only supported on creation of instance type that support CPU option cores. So probably not for me because I'm getting like the micro. CPU threads per core if set to 1. Hyperthreading is disabled on launch instance. Defaults to 2 if not set. I think that's fine. I'll be going into the GUI afterwards and like verifying, okay, does this look right or not? Credit specification. Configure block for customizing the credit specification for the instance. Okay, I don't think that. Disable API termination. Oh yeah, do I want it to, okay. No, we want to be able to terminate this pretty easily, but we might want to enable that for the real one. One or more configuration blocks with additional EBS block. Devices to attach the instance. I don't need to attach like an external disk drive yet. EBS optimized. No. Don't need the enclave. Ephemeral block devices. No, I don't need that. So don't need an instant store. Get password data. So if true, wait for password data to become available and retrieve it. Useful for giving the administrator password for instances running Microsoft Windows. Not going to do that. Hibernation. If true, the launched EC2 instance will support hibernation. I don't think I need it to hibernate. Yeah, no, this is going to be an always on one when we do it for the real one. Okay, it's not on a dedicated host. IAM instance profile to launch the instance with. Specified is the name of the instance profile. Ensure your credentials have the correct permissions to assign the... I don't know if I need that. It's a question mark, so... Okay, so all these I think I want just default. Key name of the key pair to use for the instance, which can be managed with the AWS EC2 key pair resource. This is kind of important. So I want to check to see in my, do I have any? I don't know if I have any key pairs on this computer. So I'm going to need a key pair. But I don't know. Okay, I probably need to create them myself manually because that allows me to download it, and I don't necessarily want something like this to create it. So okay, I need to create a key pair. So what do I need? To open up my browser and head on to AWS. Um, is it Tom Dabrowski, or is it Tom? Hello and good morning regardless. All right, I'm down to 53 cents this month forecast. I wonder if it's because we started so late in the month. It'll be interesting to see if it's next month it's still cheap, or if it's just because nobody's hitting the website that's why it's like not charging me anything. That's good to know. All right. I have the AWS billing dashboard as my homepage when I go into AWS, so I can just keep an eye on it very easily. All right, so if I go to EC2, I can do key pairs in here, right? Yeah, so under network and security, I do have one. Can I re-download this? I can import, delete, manage tags, but no. Okay, so create a key pair. This is going to be Brooks builds. I can make this an ED. We'll do a PEM file and yes, download. And then I want to move that into my .ssh file, but I'm keeping this all nice and secret because this is the type of stuff I don't want you all to see. Sorry about that. But not really sorry. Not copy. I want to move. So move you to here. Okay. So then I want to. It's already shown to me, so chmod, I want fours, wait, what is that? There's 1, so 2 and 4. I want 6, 0, 0. Yep, okay. I should now be able to use that to SSH into this device if I set up the name correctly with it. So back to here. Key name. So the key name, it sounds like, is going to be a string of some kind. I'm going to want to use a config for that, so we're going to also pull this in. I don't know why I need the VPC ID inside of here. We're going to do key name instead, which means that I'm also going to pull in that from a config. All right, so creating the name of the key. So that's pretty simple. I'm going to do a Pulumi config set key name, and then the name of the key that I have, which is this. I will update that later. All right, more stuff. Okay, so we have launch template. Specifies the launch template to configure this instance. So I don't have one right now, but I think we're going to use user data as opposed to launch template when we know exactly what we're going to do. Because although maybe a launch template would be good too, that would certainly make it simpler here on this side. I could basically save this instance as a template once I've got it going. I could also just like click through and create an EC2 instance that way and then save that as a launch template. That might be easier. Maybe. Maintenance options, maintenance and recovery options, for instance. There's so many things here. I don't think I want anything other than default. Interesting. I wonder if I'm going to have to also give it a 7th ID. We'll see. User data. Okay, so user data in AWS is a script that you pass it, and then it's going to execute that script on first boot. Okay, so they have user data in base 64. So this would be an actual string. Okay, so we can put like that into a file, and then have this probably use nodes APIs to pull that file from the disk drive and as a string, and then stuff that in there. Okay, so I think we can try this and see what happens. So we're going to create the EC2 instance, and there's not really much for me to do here. I guess we need to see what happens now. So we're going to do a Pulumi up. Okay, so we're going to create the EC2 instance. Yes. Go ahead and do it. VPC ID not specified. No default VPC for this user. Group name is only supported for EC2 Classic and default VPC. Okay, so great. How do I tell it what VPC? Okay, I think we need to go look at the documentation. Nope, I want... Okay, we'll make this small until I find the right place. Let's see, this is AWS reference, AWS. Search for EC2. Hey Dota, I've changed from Rust to TypeScript for good, haven't I? You knew I would eventually crumble to the everlasting pressure of TypeScript. What's that thing? Everything, it was initially the quote, so like paraphrased and slightly changed. Everything that can be written in TypeScript will be written in TypeScript. Is that what? I do want to switch to TypeScript for my day job, but we're still doing a lot of Rust if we can for like the rest of the stuff. We're for this, however, Pulumi doesn't support Rust yet. I'm hoping. I really hope that they do eventually. That would be so fun to set all this stuff up in Rust. What part of the language appealed to you? The fact that you can't avoid it. Well, I think it's for TypeScript. I think the idea is it's JavaScript, but with like slightly more awesomeness added to it. And maybe less the awesomeness isn't what like is actually the attractor here. Maybe it's just less of the crappiness. Maybe that's what it is. It's just better JavaScript. Yeah, exactly. And like JavaScript is the way I make money, and I taught it for a long time, so I feel okay in just making fun of it whenever I can. Lipstick on a pig, something like that. Yeah. All right, so I want to come here and see for an instance. Wait. Yeah, EC2. I want to instance. Let's look at their example here and see what we're missing. So they got an AMI, new EC2 instance, web. Okay, so an AMI, an instance type, and then tags. But then that's assuming the default VPC, I'm guessing. So I guess I need to make this bigger so that there. Okay, can I search for VPC? Associate public IP address, KS. There's 20 matches of VPC on this page. Okay. You're getting advertisement for an SSD 2 terabyte drive that you want to buy from Amazon. Oh, nice. Also, if you wanted to buy it, then their targeted advertising is working just fine, I guess. They even got the Xbox part of it correct. They know. They know. Okay, so not that. It's deprecated. VPC subnet ID to launch in. Okay. Hold on. So maybe I need a VPC subnet ID. Okay, hold on. I can find that. We'll head on over to VPC. Go to subnet. I do have two subnets. Okay, I have a private and a public one. So for this public subnet ID is what I want to put this into. Here's my subnet ID. So we'll do a config for this, just like the other one. So Pulumi config set subnet ID is that. So subnet ID. There's a default VPC or something. Don't delete that by accident. Oh, Dota. I deleted that a long time ago. That's gone a long time. Now, you can create the default VPC again. So I noticed that you can actually go in and there's a button to like recreate the VPC. You might not be able to get it back, which is really weird. They actually have a button now where you can just click it and it recreates the default VPC. But I went to all the regions and deleted them from every region that I wasn't planning on doing stuff in. And then I used Pulumi to spin things up. I have not tested it because I didn't actually click the button because talking to some other like experts in AWS, they all say the same thing. Do not use the default VPC. Create your own. Even if it's just the same, just create your own. Minimal stuff. Arian, hello. No more Rust. Not right this second. What we're doing right now is we're setting up our infrastructure so that our Rust app can go on top of it. So that's what we're doing right now. And also I'm doing this because I haven't really given myself time to work on it outside of the stream. So that's why we're doing it here. But yeah, that's the general idea, is that the default VPC is not fully secure, and it's made to be easy to use, but not necessarily the best choice. So also I found that I learned a lot more of AWS when I have to make all this stuff up. Okay, so what was I do? Oh right, subnet ID. So we're gonna get the subnet ID here. It's a string, and add that in here, and try this again. T2 micro is the cheapest EC2. That's an important one. Yeah, and that's the reason why I explicitly set that one as opposed to allowing it to be default, because I want it to be cheap. There is one more that is cheaper. There is like a there is a nano, I think, version. You've getting caught up in large default land. Oh yeah, the defaults are terrible. Like at least the default in the console, where it's like, oh, just do this one. It's like, oh, okay, let's try that. Nano, however, will cost me more money because technically I still have a free tier on this specific account that I'm working on, and hey, it worked. Because of that, I found out this the hard way. Nano is not on a free tier. You'll get charged for it. EC2 micro is. So we're going to use that until I get a something else going. Okay, so instance is running. All right, so this instance is running. Let's inspect this. So I have a host name. Instance type is a T2 micro. Okay. It's on a VPC. It's on this public subnet. I have a public IP address for this right now. We could potentially not have a public IP address once I have a load balancer up. That'll be nice. Let's see. I've always been sort of like interested. The public DNS is like has the IP address in it, but whatever. Okay, so we have that, and Amazon Linux inferred. Standard size. Just trying to like look through this to make sure nothing is weird. Think we're all good. Number of vCPUs is 1. I think that's fine. I could potentially, I think, set that to like 1/4. Maybe. But okay, so I want to connect to this. So I want to connect with an SSH client. Oh wait. That's a good thing. Did I connect my security group to it? I did. Okay, so the security group that we also created in here. So if we look at this, is indeed connected in. Now, the security group is not the best. It allows SSH from everywhere. So anybody can SSH in if they have the key pair, which is not the best security, but for right this second, I don't want to put like my IP address in that security because then you'll all see it. So spin up a large DB instance. Oh God, yeah. So I did that for my work, not for my personal stuff, but I did that for my work where I spun up a large, like we weren't sure, and so like my boss and I were working this together. It was one of our first things that we were doing, and we're like, okay, we need a new database setup. Okay, well let's set up a large. It's the default one, so it must be good. Let's do Aurora. Let's like add all these other things, and then it was, how much was it? It was $60. It was over $60 a day. It was between $60 and $100 a day, and it was 2 months. Like I think the next month he was like, "Hey, so accounting asked us about the big jump in our AWS costs. Is there something going on?" And it was like, oh no. Okay, so we went through and deleted a whole bunch of stuff and then turned that back down. Luckily, we weren't having real users on that database yet. Otherwise, that would have been a pain. Let's see. It's out of your things, but did you try Rust on .onion? It's damn new and fun. Wait, what is .onion? I've never heard of this thing. Hold on, I'm just gonna Google search over here. .onion. It's a special use top level domain designating an anonymous onion service, which was formerly known as a hidden service reachable via the Tor network. Such addresses are not actual DNS names, and the .onion TLD is not in the internet DNS route. With the appropriate proxy software installed, internet programs such as web browsers can access sites with .onion addresses by sending the request through the Tor network. Interesting. I have no idea. I've never checked this out, so I have not tried it. I'll add it to my list to check out, but no idea how long it will take me to get there. I'll keep that window up to remind myself. Yeah, you're good on not making a .onion. I just want to read more up on it right now and sort of like see like what this is. I've never really played very much with the Tor network. I know some security people, some security friends who are really big on Tor. Not enough legal stuff happening in Tor. I have no idea. But yeah, I also like, because I'm doing this type of stuff, I don't want to step too far into like the questionable legality stuff. So we'll see. I don't know enough one way or the other to make a judgment call. I might ask around on some Discords that I'm in, sort of like see what my peers think. Okay, so security deals. Okay, so I want to connect in now. So can I do an? Okay, so I want an SSH. See if Tor anonymizes your location. There's one main reason to do such a thing. Well, I mean, I think there's a couple reasons to do that, right? Like for us, or at least for me, probably don't have a good reason to do it. But if you're in like a country where you're I think like that there's some reasons that are like actual valid. Like if you're in a country and you're a journalist and you're doing that kind of stuff, and you want to like you want to be able to like publish your articles and not be caught by, you know, whatever groups are really looking out for you to not find not, you know, to grab you, then yeah, that might be really good. Myself, I have no use for it right now, unless I could somehow like program Pong on it and misuse it. Okay, so right, there's a connect option at the top of each one where it can say, okay, how to do it. So look at my private key. Okay, I got that. So it's going to be right, SSH -I to use my thing. All right, be right back. All right, we'll see you soon, Doda. Okay, so I want to SSH with that. You all are gonna see the IP address of this anyway, so it's not really gonna matter. Might as well bring this back over here. And then you are gonna be in like that. Yep. Okay, so here I am in AWS. If I remember correctly, these instances are based on Fedora, Red Hat, and they're super optimized. So that's one of the arguments for using this over an Ubuntu instance on AWS. You just get like slightly more bang for your buck. All right, so like DigitalOcean, just having this EC2 instance up, you just pay for it per month. Like if there's a capped cost to this. Like I can't be charged any more for this EC2 instance. Not true for some of the other services, which will like spin up multiple EC2 behind the scenes for you. That's where you get charged quite a bit. Twisted Seed, hello, good morning. All right, so EC2. So we've spun up an EC2 instance. I am relatively happy with what type we have set up here. I want to now, what's my next thing? What is this? What am I doing? Going to GitHub. I actually thought things out, and I'm also experimenting with projects here. So I created a Brooks Builds project. We created an EC2 instance with Pulumi. Can I do a view of this as a board? Yeah, so you're done. This is huge. All right, so next up, determine how to set up an EC2 to host sec. That's next, is we want to set this up with sec. So we want to figure out exactly what we need to do to get this going. So the first thing of all EC2 instances is not to trust that it's the latest up to date with anything. I think it still uses yum. Yeah. So we're gonna do sudo yum update. Is it -y to like auto say y to it? Yes, okay. I'm also going to note down these instructions somewhere. Let's put it. Let's create a user data. Actually, I'm going to create a user data folder for this. Inside of infrastructure. New file. What are we going to call this? This is going to be called I guess like ec2.sh. Okay, so we'll do with bin bash. First thing, what is this? Sudo yum update -y. Okay, after we installed all those, I want to now. I don't have Docker, right? Yeah, so I don't have Docker. Oh wait. Sudo yum. There's not. It's not just update, right? I now need to do a upgrade or something. So I did update, updated package or packages on your system. Update packages taking obsoletes into account. So that's upgrade. Oh, so that might have done it? I might want upgrade. Sudo yum upgrade. No, okay. So I think that's what we want. We want that update. Okay. So we have you. Now I want to install Docker. So if I can do sudo yum okay, that's literally the only version available to me. So let's go ahead and install it and see if it's what we want. So it's an Amazon 2 extra, so that should be relatively safe to do so. So let's go ahead and bring that in. The idea of like any of these setups on these on systems like this on servers is like the minimum amount to get going. We're going to be using Docker to install and like set up everything, so we should be fine. So if I do a Docker PS, oh, Docker is not running. So Docker D. Okay, so that starts it, but it's like local to here. So okay, we need to install Docker. So install -y Docker, and then next up is gonna be set up Docker to start at boot. I think it would be to start at boot, and then I might want to also just start it right then. So this is gonna be, I guess it's like a Fedora style. So we do like Red Hat or Fedora. I want to start Docker boot. Okay, so documentation for from Docker. Let's see how good this is. Uninstalled versions. I don't think I have to do that because it's a brand new EC2 instance. One of the really nice things about using EC2 instances is if like you don't like them anymore, then just delete them all. Although we're not going to be in that position for a while if not. So it shouldn't have a firewall because like AWS uses the security groups for most firewalls, and then you can set up another type of firewall somewhere else. I probably don't. But I forget how to check that. The last time I was with let's see. Last time I was working with a Red Hat system, there was chains. That was the firewall type. It was using chains and that kind of stuff. And I forget what it's now called. That was a long time ago. It's all using a repository. Yeah, I do remember that. You set it up once, then you put it into a script and you never think about it again. Okay, set up the repository. We don't have to do that. Install Docker Engine. Okay, let's say we got that. Okay, so it's suggesting system control start Docker. Verify that Docker Engine is, okay, so we can do system control start Docker. Does this work? Okay, I think that worked. So, but I think I need to tell system control. Okay, so if I tell you to reboot at this time, I don't think that will start it back up again, right? What is the drawback of creating a golden AMI and running it? What do you mean by golden AMI? Oh, Ariana, you redeemed Pet the Cat. Zilby's not down here right now. But I'm not opposed to taking a super quick break to try to go find him and bring him down here and see if he's up to it. How about this? I'll leave that in the queue, and then if he does come down here, I'll click the little check mark on it. Otherwise, I'll refund your points. Even though there's not much that we do with the points right now. Oh, it's an AMI that comes with all your packages. Okay, I get it. So you're talking about like going into the marketplace, finding an AMI that somebody else created and then using that. So the problem that I have is that I'm paranoid. So unless I have some insight or trust in the organization creating those AMIs, I just like, it's really hard for me to choose to use that. So it's the same thing with these Docker images. You can go find a Docker image on Docker Hub, and it almost always has exactly what you want on there, even configured the way you want it. But it's from some unknown person. And now you have to choose like, do I trust this? It's gonna be running as root on my system. It's got like access to all my memory and everything else. This is dangerous to run. And so I usually only go with the ones that have check marks on them, or if it's like a link from a site and I trust that site. And it's like, okay, I will choose that one. So like the Hasura one, for example, doesn't have a check mark on it, but it's from their own documentation source. So it's like, okay, I'm going to go with that one then. That's the only reason why. If you find somebody who actually has like, you trust them, and they're like, here's our EC2 instance AMI, go ahead and use that, then I have no problem. Like I would have no problem doing that. Let's see. What we can do to test this out is we can reboot this and just see. So we can do a sudo reboot. I will go back over here and just keep an eye on it. should be. Is it already rebooted? These EC2 instances reboot like super fast. This might already be up again. Not yet. Still in a running state. There it goes. Okay. So now, do I have sudo docker ps? Yeah, okay. So that didn't actually set it to start. So we used system control. System control, that's the system control is like the Mac thing, the Apple thing that got started. I always was so confused as why Red Hat switched over to this system. And then I stopped I stopped being a sysadmin very shortly after they did this. So I just remember having negative feelings about system control, not super positive ones. One would think that I might be happy with that because I was a Mac admin. We also did Linux type stuff, but I was never happy with the Mac stuff for this. I thought this was like just overly complicated and made it hard to like use. But I don't know. I'm probably just like old, like the complaining about like how we had it easier when things were simpler in the past and like yelling at clouds and that kind of stuff. Okay, so I want to, how do I schedule you? To start at boot. One of the inits, essentially like init 2. Why are we red hating? Is it red hatting or hating? There's a colon in there. I'm not sure if that's what letter that's representing. Also, it changes the connotation of it a lot. I have no idea. So anyways, it was just slightly complaining about how they took a lot of the Apple stuff for their scheduling thing. It's like syscontrol is like essentially that Apple started with it, and then it went from there to like it went from a lot of other things. Oh, red hatting. So I'm using the Amazon EC2 image because I remember. So I've read a lot about like the different images that you can use on AWS. The probably not surprisingly, the AWS AMI that you can use is significantly more efficient than the Ubuntu one or any of the other ones. Probably not surprising because like they've tweaked it for their hardware and their like their hypervisors and everything else. But it's also Red Hat based. So just just something to be aware of is, it is Red Hat based. You got to use it. So therefore we're going to use it because it is clearly the best choice for a server in which, okay, I want to be as cheap as possible. You know what I should actually do for this is just like actually go look at the documentation online, like just Google for it. Here I am trying to like, oh, it's like syscontrol. Maybe I can do it. Man syscontrol? System CTL. System CTL. Type state. Do you have examples? For examples of how to use system control in comparison with old services and check on please managing system oh. Okay, so I remember like how many of you remember the old inits? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, init. All 6 inits here. Um, and then you can one of the ways of rebooting would be like set the init to 6. What are some good Linux interview questions to memorize? Oh man, Agent Noel. Good morning and hello. So I have not been a sysadmin in many, many, many years. So all of my information about interview questions are not probably helpful for you. But for me, like if it was like just good things to be aware of is the differences between the two really big systems out there. So Debian based versus Red Hat based. Like what is the difference between those two? Just knowing that Red Hat is really far behind in updates from Fedora because that's their enterprise. And so if you want something that like everything just always works on it and you never have to worry about that, Red Hat is the way to go. If you want a Red Hat based, but you want like the latest newness and everything on it, then Fedora is the way to go. Does everybody still use CentOS? I feel like that went away. Because like the person stopped supporting it or something like that. I sort of like dropped off the CentOS world. Let's see. Ubuntu is like the most popular thing. Like basically how to start. Like if you want to be a sysadmin, how to rebuild an image, how to like do basic scripting and automation. How to use Bash. You still see servers on CentOS. Okay, CentOS. Knowing what CentOS is probably good too. CentOS is basically Red Hat, but the free version. Knowing Docker and how to use it. If you're gonna be using Red Hat a lot, probably knowing Podman too, which is Docker. Red Hat's version of like Docker. Things like that. But then besides that, it's probably going to be like find out what company you're interviewing for, figure out exactly what they're using, and then you can like learn on that. So if any of you remember old sysadmin stuff, this would be init 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And if you do like init 6, that would essentially reboot the entire system. At least that's what it feels like. They're not saying init here, so I could just be completely wrong. Do I have to create a file? I probably have to create a special file somewhere. To like control it and enable it. Let's see. Is there a schedule? Oh, how to use Vim. How to use Vim. That's going to be super important for any kind of like sysadmin sort of like Linuxy jobs. I want to set Docker to start at boot, essentially, just to I want Docker running at like init level 2 or 3. That's what I want. Search. Oh yeah, search is good. Like how to search for files, that kind of stuff. Let's see. So let's do. Wait. We also have a post installation steps. Okay, manages a non-user. Oh, right here. Configure Docker to start on boot. Well, okay. That's simple enough. Firmin, I have no idea how to pronounce your name, but Thank you so much for the Prime subscription. Take Amazon's money. Oh, okay. I will if you really say so. All right. Well, I probably should have just looked at the next page. So here we go. We're going to enable the Docker service. It created a symlink from interesting. So systemd to user lib system. Okay, interesting. And then next is enable container d.service. So there were already these files existing. I needed to tell them to go. So now, then I can use disable to disable it. Okay, so if I reboot, we'll just wait for a little bit at a time. In the meantime, we will add this to the list. You know why you forgot that? I mean, yeah. I stopped using it when it came to like this type of stuff a long time ago. Connection refused. Okay, here we go. And if I do a sudo docker ps, we are up. Okay, so that is working. So Docker is now up and running. Let's see. They also have some other suggestions for locking this down, which would be good. So manage Docker as non-root user. Okay, so I have heard different things for this because like Docker is gonna run root anyways. The Docker daemon always runs as the root user regardless. So if I don't, okay, I think that there's not really a reason for me to add in any of this stuff to not run Docker as root on a server like this. It's not really going to make a difference. It still runs as root. Like no matter what I'm going to do, it's still going to run as root here. That's the thing is like, even if you use a Docker user, it still runs as root because the daemon's running as root. You can't really stop it. Okay, so I think we're good here. All right, so then if I want to have sec up and running, so let's see. We have you going. Want to set up sec. Let's go find that really quickly. I don't have a bookmark for that. All right, so this is by the way one of the examples of a non, like they don't have the little verified little signal on it, and it's namespaced, so it's not like one of the default ones. But because I came here from the sec documentation, I sort of feel I like that this is by the same name. I feel that safe using this. So, all right. So this is data la sec. So this is how that's going to work. I could just tell it to start running, and maybe we should do that as opposed to having a Docker. Do I want to have some kind of like Docker? What is it called? Like my like a Docker compose file that like has all the things sitting in it. Maybe. Then it's separate. Because this one will restart always, then I think we'll start it back up at launch. Otherwise, I would want to create a new repo, install Git, and then pull those down. Well, yeah, rebuilding and redeploying and getting all that stuff is an entirely different world altogether. Like, how am I going to deploy new versions? So like, I push up a change. Am I going to just reach out with like an SSH key and just like tag it and then have that update it? Probably. Like front end updates is easy. That just we're gonna run an AWS command to update the S3 bucket. Back end, I need to recompile and reinstall. I could recompile on the actual server. I mean, that would probably be for the fastest execution, but it would be the slowest possible deployment strategy. That being said, sec is like very different. Sec is just its own thing. We might just start here and then we'll like build that out as we figure out what we're gonna do. So, okay, so we're gonna do Docker run. Sure. Let's do this here. So we're gonna do a Docker run. We can give it this name sec. D for daemon mode. Restart unless stopped. I like that. We have to say except EULA Y for this. Let's see. Sec first run admin password hash. Now, there is no way to set up environment variables with EC2 instances, right? Like, I can't inject environment variables in. No, I don't think so. So it's up to me to set those. So then, first run admin password hash. Oh, but it'd be on first run, and I think I can change this password. Okay, so I need to Docker run the config hash. Oh, and then they're echoing a password into it. Okay, got it. Yeah, it takes a password hash rather than a raw password, which is interesting. Now this is gonna be, I believe, on the first run, so we're gonna find out. So we're gonna use keyboard cat. So this is that super top secret hash. So don't tell anybody that I'm using this. That will defeat the purpose of it being secret, right? I've never really understood why it would choose to do something like this. I have to put the password hash in here anyways. An environment variable could hold the password hash or the password as well as the password hash. So fun. Do I believe in fate? So the question is, can I go and like reset the password before you all go and reset the password for me? In which case, then I have to just turn off the server and restart it and try it again. That's the question. But this is a test, so I don't really care about this type of stuff, and we'll be I'll be tearing it down anyways, very shortly. Okay, now path to the data. So I do want this data to be external to this, because that way I can then save it out. You know exactly what I mean. Okay, so I want, let's create another connection in here. Let's see, home EC2 user. Yeah, this is probably fine. So let's do a maker of like log data. So what movie is that from? That's like I've seen this before, and is this the Matrix? Like, is that Matrix? It's been so long that I've forgotten like most of the quotes and everything else from that. Let's see. No? Okay. It also shows how much I'm like in on pop culture, is that I don't know what the quotes are from. Let's see. Okay, so we have log data. Wait. Okay, so it is the Matrix. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Brzos. All right, so I create this. Okay, next up is our volume. I think it's when Morpheus is offering the pills to Neo. I vaguely remember that, but like not one to one. It's just sort of like the general feeling of it. Yeah, and as soon as you say something like the Matrix is everywhere, then it's obvious. Like it can't be anything other than that. All right, so this has to be a full path to this. So I want to do slash pwd. We're gonna do pd into log data and do pwd here, and I will just do a copy paste. Okay, so home EC2 user log data, then goes to data. if I'm doing this in the home directory, I should probably use some variable type things. That would also be good, but this is not really going to change either. I'm logging in as EC2 user, so we're good to go there. Oh, but if I am using log data, I'm going to need to create this directory. That will be something important for us to do. Okay, so I set that up. Next step. Make port 80 available. I don't want to do that completely. So inside we're going to do 88. We're going to do 8,000 to 80. Okay. So there is an old movie. Was that the 90s? Called The Matrix. And they just recently came out with another movie, like Matrix Reloaded or something like that. Sort of like re-sparked everybody's interest in Matrix again. But it was a trilogy of movies. The first one is like, in my opinion, I just like that one the most. That was the best. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, go watch at least the first movie. The entire trilogy is worth knowing for like pop culture references, but at least watch the first movie without looking anything more up. Yeah, I would highly recommend it. Just go take a look at it. Try not to spoil yourself. It's worth your time. What is the 54321 is the ingest one. Oh, did I say math matrix? I did not mean that if I said that. So sorry if I did and let you down the wrong path. I don't think anyone references anything in the second two, do they? Probably not. I don't know. I remember playing the game on like the original Xbox, and that referenced a lot of like 2 and 3. That was it. Homeless, hello. What is the difference between software engineer and software developer? That is okay. So this is such an interesting question because it feels like it has connotations, but I don't really think it matters at all in the end. So it's just a title right now, and different places that you work at are going to interpret that title differently or give you a title. So for example, I've worked at a place where title was programmer, title was software developer, and title was engineer or software engineer. I did nothing different. Like I was still just building software, like helping the place build the tools and the things that they need to sell to customers. So really not big of a difference. I think we put on more of a big difference than companies do. I don't think they really care that much. Friend of the stream, Kyle Coberly, who's been on here before, he's one of my mentors. He has a master's in engineering management. He said he jokes that he got that specifically so that he can tell people that there is no difference between programmer and software engineer or software developer or anything. Just use whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. So in the end, I don't really think that that's a difference worth like going into. I think it's more of like causes fights between us than it actually helps anything. Does that answer your question? It probably doesn't. So I'm sorry about that. Okay, so that's the ingest API. Then we tell it to run data last sec and the default thing in it. So if I run you, kind of need to do a sudo on it. Okay, so in our EC2 script, we are going to make dir. Now, I don't know what directory this script is going to run in as. This might actually run as root. So I should be extremely explicit when setting this up here. So I'm going to make dir this directory. Okay, so you're running sudo docker ps. You're still up. Okay, that's great. Now I need to. We're gonna go to. DNS colon 8000. Some people told you that it's important to keep documentation close to the code. Is it wise to use JSDoc or create separate file and documentation and markdown file a little far away from code? Sort of, it depends upon what kind of documentation we're talking about. Because there's different types. There's documentation about how things work, or why we're doing certain things. In that case, comments in the code, I think, are the best place for those. If we're talking about API documentation, like what API endpoints are available, how to use them, everything else, I recommend keeping that as a separate deployment, having that be in something like a Swagger document, or something else like that, something that you can actually see, play with, even send requests to and from that. That tool would be really great. So that's probably a separate project. If you're using a monorepo, it's going to be next to the code, but probably not exactly the same code. Unless, of course, you're using a cool system that allows you to create the Swagger document and auto-generate the API from that, which is really nifty, and I love it. I've done that before. It's pretty cool. And then the final documentation is going to be the business documentation, like how, like in general, from a high level view, how do you use all the services together, everything else. Like these are customer service documentation. These are going to be how what is like in the problem being solved. How is the problem being solved? Those things are all going to be living far away. Like you might put those into Notion or a wiki or a customer success website or a let's see, like just a bunch of Word documents. That's going to be much farther away. I think those are the documentations that like we as engineers, software developers, whatever, need to have more insight into and like more input into, because those are the ones that like you have the business people that are updating constantly and are like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this totally. We need to know what they're thinking about before they tell us, okay, time to build this thing that might be impossible or terrible. Sales often uses those documents too to determine like, hey, yeah, we can totally sell that. All right, this is not working. Oh, you know why this is not working? Because I have no rule in here to allow you in. So we might be doing this next. So let's see. Okay, so we've got you up and running here. This is going. Let's go ahead and copy you. Okay, so start sec logging service. Password is I really am not super happy that like we have this password hash just like in here like that, because that's going to be in GitHub. So it's going to be first time only. That's the only good thing about this is it's first run only. You're not software engineer because software engineer is someone that delivers high quality code that is cost effective. For example, you don't use automated tests, which is required to deliver high quality code. I have bad news, which is there's a lot of people that are like considered software engineers that don't deliver high quality code. It's just an unfortunate truth of life. It's like it's one of those things that's like interesting, and we can like get really hung up on these words and names and like the meanings of them. And it's a fluffified title. So yeah, I agree with that. I actually think a lot of these titles are invented by people trying to manipulate us. Like HR, essentially. Oh, we're gonna give you this title. You're now a senior engineer. That is trying to like help us or hinder us or like keep us there. I don't necessarily like having someone else apply that title to us. It's coming from an engineer myself, about a civil engineer, but still engineer. Yeah, no, I agree. Software engineer is founded by NATO. What? Is that really like where the first time that software engineer like was used was like from somebody at NATO? That would be an interesting trivia. I've never heard of that. I would need a reference for that one. But yeah, so like be very careful with titles. Titles are not worth the paper that they're not printed on. We don't even do business cards anymore. Like I haven't gotten one in like the last 2 companies I worked at. So at a conference in 1970. Interesting. That shows about how much they should be worth, right? It's just some person at a conference talking about it. And now it's like how we call it. But yeah, okay. So basically this is like the true of like senior, mid-level, junior, whatever, like levels. And then also engineer versus like software developer, programmer, whatever. None of those titles, they're all made up. They're all made up by companies. They're made up by us. We just accept them. And it's really important for us to remember that they don't have any meaning. They're just words. And we define them ourselves. And then we're not necessarily making sure that our definitions match up when we talk to somebody else. So like when you talk to a company and they say, we want to hire you as a senior software engineer. What do they mean by that? Because I can almost guarantee that your definition of senior software, anything, and then engineer and their definition probably don't match up. And so it'd be really good to like just get on the same page, ignore the terms, and like use other words to sort of like determine that. So like, hey, so are you using lots of automated tests? What is your test software suite? Oh, cool. Okay. That sounds really interesting. Hold on, let me see if we can pull this up. It's from Wikipedia too. So Wikipedia, I remember back in the days when Wikipedia was not allowed for referencing anything. The NATO software engineering conferences were held in 1968 and 1969. The conferences were attended by international experts on computer software, agreed on defining best practices for software grounded in the application of engineering. The result of the conferences were 2 reports. Interesting. Okay. It's a fun little bit of history. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Thank you, homeless, for that. That's a fun tidbit. All right. Yeah, basically, as my previous point is just be careful. When you're talking to, like, this is most especially when you're being hired by somebody. If they're telling you or they're promoting you or whatever, those titles mean nothing. Oh, and here's the next little fun tidbit is that the title you put on LinkedIn and the title you put on your resume does not need to match the title that HR gives you. So if HR assigns you the title of a senior engineer, which at almost every place I've worked at, they will very quickly promote into senior because it's a way for them to, they think, not have to pay you quite as much. That's what I've noticed in a lot of places. They give you that title, they make you feel really good. If you don't have, like, if somebody else thinks that you don't have that senior level, that could get you in trouble if you start advertising yourself as senior. So be very careful about, like, just adopting a title that somebody else gave you. I would give yourself a title. Should go to work, having a good time. Another thing, hash algorithm have integralis most of the time. I'm trying to think of, like, is that a misspelling? Integralis. What is that? What do we mean? Either way, hash algorithm have integralis. Oh man, I don't know math well enough to, like, recognize that term. Oh, I'm so sorry. But yes, like, hash algorithms are interesting. This hash algorithm is, like, this is literally keyboard cat, but supposedly it's the first run only, right? It's like the second that I run it a second time, I should be able to, like, go in and then update it. That's the idea. Uh-oh, Nightbot. Nightbot, what happened? Oh, integral calculator. An integral calculator. Okay. Sorry about that. Thank you so much for letting me know integral calculator. Sorry about the Nightbot getting a little bit upset about that. And have a great day at work. Okay, so what are we doing here? I need to probably create another. Okay, so we want to create another security group, not for SSH now. So, like, we have a security group for SSH, and I can apply that and remove that really easily for, like, just adding in SSH access. I now want one for GUI admin access, so I can just control, like, the I guess it would be GUI admin. That's what this is. So we're gonna create another. I'm gonna just duplicate this function. And if I'm duplicating this, no, because, like, the ingress ports, everything is, like, very different. I still don't know yet, so I'm gonna be duplicating this and not worrying about dryness right now. So this is gonna be create admin GUI security group. Okay, we have our VPC ID. So our name is going to be allow admin access to web apps. Okay, so this is now going to be we're starting with like just sec for this, but this is anything that might have like some kind of admin access to it on a different port. So GUI admin security group. Okay, security group allowing admin access into a resource. Access. Okay, egress. Everything is allowed out. Ingress. Okay, so here I want from, and we saw this is 8,000. Port TCP allow everywhere. So allow, allow from everywhere in. Okay, so this is going to be port 8000 is sec. So allow access to sec from anywhere. And then everything else is good to go here. So before this one, I need to create this. So const admin security group equals admin, and then we'll hand it that VPC ID. I want this to be both security groups, right? Hold on. How does this work? So in our EC2 instance, okay, so this is going to be an array of security group IDs. So let's update this here. So we'll do security group IDs, and that's going to be an array of output. I think that's what it is. So it's like output string and array. Are you not happy with this? Oh, it's a Pulumi input. Okay, so hold on. Not output, input. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so it's an input with input. Okay. Like that? I'm like confused by this. That seems odd. But you're not happy. No value exists in scope for the shoreline property. Security group ID is, that's why. Oh, hold on. It wasn't exactly the same name. Security group IDs. That's my problem. Okay, now. Okay, so can I do something like this? I want to say that your type is const security group IDs SSH security group that ID admin security group that ID. This gives me, okay, so it's an output string. So this is absolutely an output string. So this is an array of output string array. Okay, and you're happy with that. So then here we're gonna say that you are the security group IDs. And now both of these are going to be attached to you. So let's come back to another one here. All right, so this should do nothing more than change. Let's see. So we're going to create this new security group, and we're going to change the security group IDs attached to the EC2 instance. So is that an alias? The wait, where are you saying that? The LL. Oh, wait. This. When I do like LL here, in like that. Yeah, so this is an alias. LL is ls-l with color auto. Oftentimes it's given to you for free these days in Linux. I don't define this myself. It just is there. Okay, so let's go ahead and update you. Okay, so you're updated. So back to you, hit refresh. I'm not using that password it's recommending to me. New one, please. Done. Okay. Nice and scary, but that worked. Okay, so we added another. I added a security group that allows anybody to connect in and just sort of like look at this, which is again not the best because anybody can now go in and just like see these logs. I should probably figure out a way to like require a login. But I'm not going to worry about that too much. So our goal today for this stream is to figure out how to like get this going and restart everything. Okay, so this will then run things and get it up and running. Let's see. Password is start running service. Reset password immediately. Okay, so we got that, and then what's next? I don't know if I need to do anything on our back end now. So, okay, if I save this, let's tear down. Do I want to tear everything down? I kind of do, because I want this to like auto start up with everything sort of like set in it for us. I want to test this user data that we got, and so in this EC2 instance, we can add in user data, which is going to be just a string. So we're going to want user data is a string. All right, so fun things we're gonna do here. I'm all good with all of these things. Let's go ahead and do a Pulumi destroy. This is gonna delete my EC2 instance, the SSH security group, and the GUI admin security group. So let's go ahead and do that. These will probably, yep, there it goes, kicked me out. Okay, meanwhile, I want to grab this user data from a file and then add it in here as a string. I suppose we can also, no, I want this to be easy to edit and update. So, okay. In here, we need to grab the EC2 user data. So let's create a function to sort of grab that from the file. So function get EC2 user data script. We're going to return a string. It might even be a promise. It might be a promise. I don't remember. I'll do string for now, and we'll figure it out. So, here's where this data is. Here's where this file is living. So I want to do a const descript equals, it's like fs. Okay, so fs sync let's pull in fs. Import, is it going to be like star as fs from fs? I feel like it is. So fs dot I think I want read file. Okay, and we have a choice of read file sync or read. Okay, so read file. Asynchronously reads the entire contents of a file. This does not return a promise. It's a callback based. So I might as well just do sync in this case. Dodo, you've used Terraform a bit also. How do I like doing this in TypeScript? I like it doing it in TypeScript. I think the main reason is my brain works a little bit better with code. And so like doing this, even though I think it's a little bit more work than using something like Terraform, is just feels like it's less effort than learning all the YAML files and everything else for Terraform. So that's why I'm going with this one, is just it's laziness. this tool exists and is free, and so I want to just do that. So I've enjoyed it so far. They've added, they have like Go as a language, and so I kind of want to kind of hoping that they eventually use Rust, like that they enable that one. I think then we could just like port all of our code over to Rust with this, and it would be amazing. Okay, so we're going to read file sync. Synchronously reads the entire content of the file. So we're gonna have a path. So here, read file sync. A path to a file. If URL is provided, it must use the file protocol. URL support is experimental. Okay, so we're not going to do that. Is this relative? I think it is. So it's going to be inside of user data EC2.sh options. An object that may contain an optional flag. If a flag is not provided, it defaults to read. Probably for read only. Is it relative or absolute path? We are going to find out. I have no idea. Oh, okay. So in options, there's this buffer encoding. Okay, encoding, buffer coding. Okay, so I want this, and we're going to do encoding. UTF-8. Huh. What is the difference between UTF-8 and UTF-8? Probably this one is what I want. Options are optional. Yes, but I don't want it to be a buffer that I get back. I want it to get back just an actual string. Oh yeah, like this one, string. In which case, options, I need encoding, flag, string, or undefined. Oh yeah, look at this. So if I want a string back, encoding is not optional. Flag is though. Okay. String or buffer, interesting. So if I just do that, I have my script and we're gonna return this. You always messing with buffer data. Like sometimes buffer data is really important to get, especially if it's like huge ginormous file or you have no idea what size it is. You might have to do a buffer to then stream it to deal with it that way. But in this case, this is a tiny script. It's gonna fit in memory very easily. Okay, so then we're gonna grab that. So then do const EC2 user data is equal to get user data script and EC2 user data, pass in there. Now, if I want to make sure that I'm getting this correctly, let's just do user data is our EC2 user data. Don't have to worry about copying it because we're not in a language that cares about that kind of stuff. Are using Amazon EC2 API consuming. So behind the scenes, it is a combination of the Amazon like CLI and Terraform. So it's actually creating like a lot of Terraform, like executing that for me. So yes and no at the same time. Beyond that, I don't know exactly how it's working. So it's Pulumi that's doing all this thing. And I think Terraform itself uses a lot of the SDK, doesn't it? Like I think that's how it works. So it's like layers upon layers of abstractions. There is, yeah, Pulumi is what we're using for this. So here's here, let's do this. Let's see how it works. So if I do Pulumi up. There is an experimental AWS CLI for Rust. on crates, but I haven't checked it. Okay, so it's gonna create everything, and we have set up. You're using this user data now. So okay, let's see if this works. So, yep, go ahead and create everything. Okay, yeah, so they can add in other application type things. Yeah, so the reason for doing all this stuff is it allows me to automate the creation of all these services. So if I wanted to create and spin up another EC2 in a different region or a different VPC, I can very easily. And this is like the beginning. This is just step one. If I want to recreate somewhere else. Now, going to a different cloud is not really all that possible. Like, I know a lot of these places advertise, oh, use Terraform, use Pulumi. You can like use all the different clouds and like spin up and go everywhere. It's not really, that's not really how it works. You see, there's tons of these things that are very specific to AWS in that what I'm doing. I could also use Pulumi to control DigitalOcean or Azure or any number, like I think there's like 50 or so that works with it. We'll see. Damn it, AWS, stop telling me about the Seagate 2 terabyte drive you want to buy. I mean, that output. Oh, I forgot to do the export. Oh man, oh, that's why I'm not exporting correctly. I need to export the other thing properly. Okay, so you're up. Which means that if I come back to my AWS console, hit refresh, I have a completely different IP address now. But connecting in should be fine. So first of all, I want to see if I connect into you. Port 8000. That didn't work. Okay, so first of all, there is no folder. There is no folder log data in here. So this did not run. So my user data did not successfully run. Okay, that's good to know. Also slightly disappointing. So what I think I need to do is do this. Export const output, doesn't really matter. Equals, and then call main. And I think this will allow me to sort of see what's going on here. So let's do a, hey, if I do another Pulumi up, it won't change anything, but I might see that output. You got an email recently about a new service to monitor billing, which is a fantastic idea for a service. They have the most opaque billing you've ever seen. That would be interesting. Something to sort of like help out. All right, so here's our output. User data. Oh, look at this. Okay, so bin bash with these /n's and okay, so yeah. Okay, this found the file. So this, okay, so it found the file and it is passing this up. So this is all correct so far. I like that. but something else is going wrong. It's not like it's just taking a... Wait, oh, log data's here. Oh, it just took a really long time to run. Oh. You're not running yet. Okay, hold on. Sudo docker ps. Docker daemon is not running. Okay, so we need to now tell this to start the Docker daemon. So we tell it to enable it on a reboot, but we also need to tell it to start the Docker daemon. Okay. Okay, so set Docker to start at boot. So here, we're going to install Docker and then start it right away. You know, with those type of courses, I end up doing the same thing where I don't watch it all from start to finish. I basically, I go back and forth. Like I go through a course, I take just enough to like get me to like the next section, and I continue running off on my own, because I generally learn the best by just doing, running into trouble, trying to fix it, and then going off and like trying it again. So, all right. Attempt 2. So we're going to tear this down again. Nope. I want to destroy you. And try again. Udemy has a lot of cheap courses. They are so cheap, or rather, they're so cheap with the 75+% discounts that they constantly give out with yet, which is one of the reasons why I'm extremely hesitant, because people ask me why I wouldn't put my courses on Udemy because they have such a big audience. I am really hesitant from all of the discounts that they give. And talking to some people who have like put courses on there, they don't necessarily ask you. They just like, okay, here's a discount, you get one, and they only get paid for the discount, which is why everybody puts such high prices on it. Because like they know that they're gonna get discounted courses. So like I feel weird saying like, okay, my introduction to you course is, you know, $400 or something like that. It would feel really weird. I don't feel it's worth $400. All right, so we're gonna do a Pulumi up. I have now updated to start Docker here. It is super fascinating. This is taking a long time to get to this point. So it has to do all these things. Let's do Pulumi up and get this going. So yeah, that's the main reason why not, is like I'm concerned about the losing control over pricing type things. That's like the main reason. So I don't know, I might try something and throw something on there. I haven't ruled it out completely. All right, so over here, Okay, so it's terminated that one, and we're pending on the next one coming up. Okay, so you're up and running here. I can go ahead and SSH in. And we're going to sit here and wait until user data is created, which is one of the steps to sort of like getting this going. So let's see, what does it got to do? So it spins up the service and then it runs this script. So it's got to do a yum update, then it installs Docker, then it starts Docker, then it enables Docker to start at reboot. These things should be fairly quick and fast. Then finally create this data and then start Docker, the Docker image container. Okay, so the log data was created, so that means it got at least to this part. Now it's working on this. So now can I do sudo docker ps? Hey, okay, so sec is up and running, which means I can come back to here. Where did I put this? Here. And well, look at that. Okay, so it's asking me for a username and password. We know that this is admin. Where's my users? I want to change your password. Right. This is still on HTTP right now because I haven't set up a load balancer. So this is still not the final version. Like I'm not actually worried about this yet. So okay. Now if I log out and we come back to here. All right, so now if you go to this URL, it shouldn't matter. You should just get this username login screen, and I wonder if I could eventually. I wonder if I can eventually set up some kind of two-factor auth with this. That would be really nice, but I also understand that I might not get that choice. But okay, so this is pretty cool. Let's see. So coming back to here, determine how to set up EC2 to host sec. So we did that. We've got that going. Create script. Okay, so we created the script. Pulumi creates the EC2 instance sec. So next up is going to be this. Create a load balancer that points to sec. So part of that is, let's see, we want a load balancer that is going to, it's also going to have a certificate on it. So that way it can get HTTPS, because I really want only HTTPS in there for security purposes. But then besides that, I think we're about good to sort of like get set up with this. But you know what else I could experiment with that I haven't tried yet is let's send this like hello Brooks in. So if you gain access to your sec app that is public on the web, you can spin a lot of EC2 instances. No, not with that. So if you gain access to my sec app, what you can do is you can see all the logs that I've created. And that could be a security violation of like privacy type things. It depends upon what I log in there. For the most part, I'm not going to log anything that I really care about security wise. It's going to be more of a lot of things like, oh, these features are like really important, or these apps have errors in them. I need to go and handle them. So it's less you can't use that to spin up EC2 instances because I'm not getting a role to the EC2 instance that allows it to do that. So even if you gain access to the EC2 instance, according to Amazon, it should be fairly isolated from the rest of my infrastructure. That being said, it's still not good. Like you can take down the EC2 instance and make it not work anymore. You can fill up the disk drive and make that not work anymore. I have an 8 gigabyte limit on there right now, so like you can't use up any more than that. But if you use that all up, everything will stop working. So you can take my stuff down, but you shouldn't be able to charge me an unlimited amount of money. I don't. At least I don't think so. I hope not. So let's send this off. To you. So we're gonna go to here, 5431 or 5341. I've opened up, and then I'm going to do. Okay, so we're just gonna go. Hello from Brooks. Let's do it on like now date. So 2022 5. What is tonight? Day is 30th. 30. Okay, if I send this, it's thinking about it. Timed out. So 5341. You should allow that in. Let me double check here. So under security, we have I'm only allowing in okay. That's my problem. Security group. I'm only allowing in 8,000. So I need also an ingest ID. So I need just like basic usage for this. So back to you. We need so I have a security group for SSH, and I have a security group for GUI access, and then I just need a security group for general usage, right? Like just like the normal security group. So let's duplicate you. And this is going to be normal usage. Add in the AWS web for that user manual. I could. Security group seems to be fine too for something like this. So add allow normal access to hosted services. So usage security group allowing normal usage. Okay, so egress, allow everything out. Ingress. Okay, so right now the only normal usage that I need in is going to be this 5341. 5341. Yes. To 5341. 5341. allow from everywhere, but eventually I can also update this to only be allowed from my other apps. Well, no, this has to be from everywhere because it's going to be sending from all of like potentially your computers. Like if I'm running a course on your computer, it needs to come in from here. So yeah, this needs to be from everywhere. Although eventually we'll be able to say this comes in from only the, what is it called? The load balancer. So allow access to sec ingest from anywhere in. Yeah, so ingress and egress. So ingress is like coming in. So like we're ingressing in, we're entering into the EC2 instance. This is what's allowed in. Egress is exiting. So leaving the outbound data, like what is allowed out. So generally speaking, if you're inside, you're allowed out to everywhere. But we can lock this down completely too if we really want to. I don't know why some they use egress and sometimes outbound. Yeah, that seems a little bit weird if they're using both names back that. Although most of the time I see egress and ingress used, but if they are using that feels like just different teams making those different decisions. All right, so we have this create normal usage security group. Okay, so I'm just going to add this into the list. And now something fun that I can do is I could remove SSH access, or I can remove any of these other ones and just basically turn them off like that. So that way we can come in here really easily and say which ones actually are active and ready to be used. I also don't need to be constantly seeing that right now. So go. Let's Pulumi up this. The only difference and change now, it's not even going to take the down at all. It's just going to reapply the security group. Oh, and it's going to remove the output. I guess, and create a new security group for it. So generally speaking, I've heard that it's a best practice to create lots of security groups that are small and like very specific uses, and then you can remove and apply them very easily without having to like think about, okay, which part should I apply or not? So that's what I've been doing here. So this worked, this changed. I still have access in, we're still in here. But now I should be able to send this in. Anybody should be able to send one of these in. And I'm going to come back here. I'm going to check you out. Here is my my new log. And then what I wanted to do also was double check that if we go to log data, yep, here we go. Okay, so we have our logs. I don't actually know what's stored inside of those. I hesitate to show them on the screen, on the stream. But here's the idea: is that if I want to do any kind of backup for this, this would be one of the folders to backup. Is this log data, and that way, I could back that up and then tear down EC2 and then rebuild it. So if I need to go to a bigger EC2 instance, or I wanted to migrate the logs somewhere else, I can absolutely do that. Okay, so that's really good to know. I'm happy about this. And I don't think there's necessarily, let's see. The next big thing is going to be this load balancer. So what I'm gonna do, so that way I don't get a whole bunch of people just throwing events at me for this, is I'm going to update. Let's see, security groups. Let's turn off SSH access. Let's turn off admin access to the panel. Or like maybe you can see it and I can see it, but normal usage I'm gonna turn off too. Until I have like keys, like API keys in there, I'm gonna turn off all of that stuff and just have the admin security group applied. So back to you, Pulumi up this. It would be fairly trivial to create like a little GUI on top of Pulumi if I really wanted to like say like, okay, turn that off, turn this off. But at that point, I'm recreating like AWS's CL, like service, like their GUI, which is like, or the console, I guess is what they call it. Okay, so this removes it. If I now come back to you and I try to send this again, this should fail. And yeah, I can't hit return anymore. I am locked out. I can't actually send any commands to my previously logged in stream. So that is nobody can now SSH in either. So I'm relatively secure until I decide that I want to bring this back up again. So I really like this. I can now very easily update what I want in or out. Okay, so I think this should handle things until next time. And talking about next time. Let's see. Lots of like game dev type things going on here. I don't have anybody I'm following that's doing any game dev. Oh, I saw like under continue watching, it's like CM Griffin. I'm like, CM Griffin's on right now? No, he's offline. Otherwise I would totally raid him. So I don't have anybody that I want to raid that's doing this type of stuff right now. So I think we're just gonna leave it. It's been a longer stream than normal, but less long than a super long stream. I'm gonna sort of like take the rest of today to relax, have some fun, maybe play some games. I'll put this all up onto GitHub and have that available to you all if you want to, take a look at it. Besides that, thank you so much for watching. I will be back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Mountain Time for a normal stream duration time. That's until around 8:15 or so hour 15 minutes or so. And we're going to start working on a load balancer. Once we get the load balancer up, we're pretty close to being able to start actually going back into Rust and just start coding away. So with that, I hope that you all have a great rest of your Monday, and I'll see you next time. Bye.